Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome to this video. You and I are here today to talk about none other than the Mage Emblem, the Mage talents, and everything that goes with it. So, I don't really have the Mage one upgraded all that one, and that is because I have the Magical at level 58. Now, is there really a big difference between the Mage and the Magical? There is, and we're going to get into that. I just don't have enough battle points or magic dust to diversify into all of these emblems sections. Now I could get this to level 30, and in fact I might do that right now just for science purposes. So let's upgrade it as far as we can go. Alright, 29, pretty close to 30. We can get one more. Oh no, I can't get one more. Okay, so let's see, what do we pick up here? We'll get into that here in a second. So pretty cheap to get it to level 30. Let's examine if level 30 is better than level 60 of their just magical. So taking a look at the spreadsheet here, what is the most important thing? Your role as a mage. Mage is one of my favorite classes when I play the most. So burst damage through skills to enemy heroes and poking from a distance, right? So what's going to be most important for you? Magic power is going to be most important. Second is magic penetration, and third is cooldown reduction. Why is it in that order? Well, because you want to deal as much damage as possible. You'd rather kill someone with one skill than having to hit them with two skills, because it's harder to hit someone with two skills, you know, than landing just one that'll kill them in one hit. So I'd rather land one skill shot that kills someone in one hit than have to land two, even if I have the cooldown reduction. I hope that makes sense. So you want magic damage and then magic penetration that lets that magic damage do more, right? And then cooldown reduction on top of that. So let's take a look at what the emblems that you would be using on a mage could give you. Now, there's really only three options, and within that, there's really only two, the magical and the mage. I have the jungle one up here, once again, because in this analysis, we're not saying that because of the meta of the game, there's not like a dedicated jungle person. If you're going to do that, you have to be on a pre-made team and be coordinating, right? And it's very, very powerful, but rarely does anyone do that because everyone wants to go in the jungle and jungle themselves. Because jungling's very powerful. So you might pick a mage / jungle, you know, maybe if you're doing Harley playing mid or something like that. But it still doesn't really offer you much. So if we go down here and we pick the jungle, we assume level 60, right? What are you going to get? You're not going to get any magic power out of there. You're going to get a lot of HP. Like 600 HP is a lot. That's like 25% starting off in the game. That's a lot. But it's just HP, right? It's not going to help you farm and snowball faster, so it's not great. You're going to get a 6% movement speed is pretty great, actually, especially on a mage. But besides that, you're not going to get any other stats, even if you select your talents correctly, right? So then we take a look at the jungle, and we see what you would pick. I say Mage Killer, right, which helps you kill objectives quicker in the jungle. Sorry, buddy, recording right now. Or you're going to go with the Veteran Hunter, right, with the Retribution that's going to kill things in the jungle. But a lot of times on mages, you want to run Flicker because you don't have an escape. You have high burst skills, but you don't have escapes, right? So I like to run Flicker. Unless I'm playing someone like Cyclops or Harley who has an escape, right? But if you're playing someone like Odette, Eudora, let's see, who else? Who else is a very popular mage? Oh, well, you could even say like Karina, right? Karina's an assassin mage, but you wouldn't really run the assassin one on her. You would run the mage, which is basically the assassin emblem set for a mage, right? So, let's get back to the chart here and just examine and see what we get. If we take out the jungle one, that's not really going to be, you know, if you have it upgraded and the other one's not upgraded, okay, sure, you might want to use it, but you really don't want to use it at all. You'd prefer the magical or the mage one, right? That's assuming you're not going to be in the jungle the whole time. You're only going to pop into the jungle every now and then. So with the magical, you're going to get 14 magic power, right? Bit of HP regen, a ton of mana, or a ton of mana regen, right? Now this is actually really good early game, right? So you run out of mana very, very easily in the early game. It's a struggle for sure. But later on in the game, you don't really have mana issues, especially after you pick up the Enchanted Talisman, which every 10 seconds gives you 10% of your mana back, right? So once you get that item, you're pretty much set on your mana. So this is kind of a wasted stat in the later game. It's really good in the early game. Whatever. You can tech into 4.5% spell vamp with this also, which is decent. So, but you know, once again, let's talk about getting the concentrated energy item, right? That gives you 20% spell vamp is pretty much all you need. So you can see you got energy right here, which is mana. This is my high-lows page, by the way. I have magic power on high-low, so you could either get magic power or you could get desire, right? Now, the desire is just better, honestly, because you get cooldown reduction and spell vamp with it. That's where the spell vamp in the calculation is coming from, as well as the cooldown reduction, right? So for this, you're going to get 3% cooldown reduction and 4% spell vamp, right? So that's like two things combined into one. I'd say that's better than the magic power, right? So what are you going to pick? You're going to pick the magic surge power as well, which is okay. I'd say it equates to like an extra 1% damage on your magical abilities over the course of the game, right? It's okay. I mean, it's a bonus for sure. If you versus someone that doesn't have it, it's going to be great. But it's okay. That being said, comparing the magical to the mage one is not that bad, because the magical gives you a whole bunch of other stats that are going to be decent, right? So let's talk about the mana, the cooldown reduction, the spell vamp. You know, these are pretty similar across these. 4.5 versus 5. What it really comes down to be honest, is that the mage gives you a ton more damage and a ton more penetration. You can see this right here. You get 29 just from picking the stats right in the correct stuff. If you had this at level 60, you get 29 magical power, right, which is over double what you'd get for the magic emblem, plus 4.5%. Where's that 4.5% coming from? So let's say you're going to pick this, right? You're going to pick flow. You wouldn't probably pick these other two. Cooldown reduction. Why? Because cooldown is capped at 40%, right? You can get 40% from items pretty easily. The cooldown boots, the enchanted talisman, and then one other item, right? So this is arguable. I would still go for flow for the reason I stated in the beginning of the game. Agility. Movement speed is good, but you know what? This emblem's already given you 2%, and you should be fine without the movement speed. I'd rather have more damage than movement speed, right? So you have observation. You could pick up some extra magical penetration, okay, but you get a ton of it with it, right? So you're getting 13.5, which is a ton, right? Just basically off the emblem itself. I would pick this. Catastrophe. Magic power increase 1.5% per point, 4.5% for all of it. So at the end of the game, how much magic power are you actually going to have, right? Okay, let's say the blood rings gives you 150. You have the magic crystal, which gives you 90. So you're sitting at 240, right? Plus about let's just say 400, right? 400 is a good ballpark estimate, right? So what is 4.5% of 400? Stop, please, guys. I'm trying to record a video. 4.5%. Oh my gosh. This is why I don't friend all you jerks. Nah, it's all good. I expect it. People hit you up in game. The queue system's not that great. Anyways, alright, whatever. We're getting back to this. 4.5% of 400. What does that end up being? Oh, it's like 16 magic damage or something. So you're going to get 16 magic damage in the end game. It's decent, you know. It's like, you know, maybe a fourth of an item. But, you know, regardless, it's more damage in your pocket, right? And that's going to stack a lot with everything else, and just the base damage that you get from this point right here, and then this one right here, right? So it's good. I would pick that. What are you going to pick up for these last ones here? It just automatically put in here. What did I say in my chart? I would say Impure Rage, right? What is Impure Rage? Let's take a look at this. Dealing damage with skills deals damage equal to 4% of the target's current HP as magic damage. And restores 3% of your mana. This effect can only trigger once every 5 seconds. Okay, so you're doing an extra 4% of their health every 5 seconds, right? Doesn't sound that good on paper, but over the course of the game, that's pretty decent, especially compared to these other ones that you have. Magic Workshop, dealing damage that is more than 10% of the target's match HP for 3 seconds, burns the target for 3 times. Each burn deals 82 to 250 magic damage. So I talked about this in the Emblem overview, right? If you compare like how much HP someone has and what 4% of that is versus the damage that this one gives you and how much harder this is to achieve, because you have to hit 10% of the target's match HP 3 times in 5 seconds. You know, this Impure Rage is even better, right? However, this Impure Rage is not necessarily better than Magic Power Surge, right? Because this is going to give you an extra, what did we say on the other one? You get 16 magic damage added for this 4.5% at the end of the game. Well, this one gives you 25. So that's like what, an extra 4% magic damage? Like, so the magic or the mage last talents on it are not that impressive, to be honest. Let's just talk about this one. Gain an extra 16 gold for minion kills. This effect disappears after 10 minutes of gameplay. Once again, like I've talked about before, okay, this is really good on paper if you're in the lane, getting last hits the whole time, you know, for the first 10 minutes, but it's not helping you get kills on the enemy heroes and stuff. So I'm not the biggest fan of this one. I could be wrong, though. It could be really good. We still haven't been able to disprove any of these things. But Impure Rage, I'd say, is very comparable to Power Magic Surge, right? Magic Power Surge. That's my dyslexia. So, going back here, let's go back to the chart and just take a look at the stats one more time. Let's see what you get. So, for the Mage versus the Magical, you're going to get a ton more magic power on the top. You're not going to get an HP. You're not going to get any HP regen. These two stats are not very important, though. You're not going to get any mana. You're going to get a small amount of movement speed. 2%, it's pretty negligible. It's a little bit, though. It helps. You're going to get a tiny bit more spell vamp, right? You're going to get a ton of magical penetration, which is what you get it for. And then you're going to get cooldown reduction an extra 2% on top. So what are you really getting over the magical one? All right, so you're getting a little bit more damage. And you're getting a bunch of magic penetration. So, that being said, if you do have these upgraded 60 and 60, obviously you're going to use the Mage one, right? But let's compare it to me right now, who could only afford to get it to 30, right? So, I only got it at 30. It's going to still be worth for me if we get the magical one, right? Whereas, suppose if you get, you know, the marksman at like 25 is better than the physical one, right? And that's because of these last abilities. You have to be level 40 to use Impure Rage too. So, what does this all come down to? Yes, the Mage one is really good on paper if you have it fully upgraded, but the magical one is going to do you just fine if you have that upgraded until you can get this one to probably level 40 or above. So, that is my overview of these guys. Appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions or thoughts or anything, go ahead and put them in the comment section below. But review-wise, you're going to do just fine with the magical one. Mage one's nice, but you don't really need it until it's fully upgraded. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Peace.